In a culture that constantly encourages us to build a platform, make a name for ourselves, and leave a legacy, the figure of John the Baptist stands in quiet but powerful contrast. His role in the baptism of Jesus is not just a historical detail, it's a lesson in humility, purpose, and the kind of leadership that reflects rather than absorbs the light. With the baptism of Jesus, I also like to reflect on John the Baptist, not just as a prophet or a forerunner, but as an example of someone who knew exactly who he was and who he wasn't. John had a mission. He had followers, authority, and even his own form of baptism. Crowds came to him in the wilderness. He was respected, listened to, and even feared by some. He could have easily used that influence to elevate himself, but John never did. His entire mission was to prepare the way for someone else. He wasn't building his own kingdom, he was clearing the path for the true king. And when Jesus finally came onto the scene, John didn't cling to his position or try to stay relevant. Instead, he stepped aside and said words that echo through time. He must increase, and I must decrease. That kind of humility is rare. Most of us would find it incredibly difficult to give up that kind of influence, to let go of a platform we worked hard for, or to hand over the spotlight when it finally shines on us. But John understood something deeper, that his voice only mattered if it was pointing to Jesus, that his authority was only valid insofar as it served the truth, that his baptism, powerful though it was, had no eternal weight without the one who would baptize with the Holy Spirit and fire. John never tried to be more than he was called to be. And because of that, his role became even more significant. He wasn't the light, but he reflected it faithfully. He wasn't the Messiah, but he knew him when he came. His greatness wasn't in his crowd size, but in his clarity of purpose. In the end, John teaches us that true influence doesn't come from being the center of attention. It comes from living in alignment with God's purpose for our lives, even if that means stepping back so Christ can be seen more clearly. The baptism of Jesus marks the beginning of his public ministry, but it also marks the quiet fulfillment of John's. His mission was never to hold the spotlight, but to hand it over. That's the challenge and invitation for us too. In a world hungry for recognition, can we be content to be signposts? Can we live in such a way that our lives point beyond ourselves to the one who is greater? When we, like John, learn to decrease so that Christ may increase, we discover a deeper kind of joy. The joy of knowing our lives are not about building our own kingdoms, but preparing the way for His.